Welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, and we got a lot to talk about today. Consumer confidence is up, yet the stock market is bleeding it out to the downside. And what else do we have? The jobs report is going to be coming out on Friday. The Fed is hoping that unemployment ticks up, and we've got CPI coming out on September 16th. So the end of the month will close tomorrow. I believe today's August 30th. Yeah, so the end of the month closes tomorrow, so we'll have the monthly close. And right now, the Ohio Federal Reserve just put out a report that basically said if they took the inflation rate right now, from what they know right now, as of right now, inflation's supposed to come out down next month. So we'll see if that holds true. If you ask me, they're full of you know what. So jumping back into Bitcoin's price action, I did want to follow up on a couple of things here. One would be the 2-day time frame, which we've been speaking about. And I'll just throw that up here. And I was getting some kind of conflicting signals yesterday. And, you know, a little bit of should I say, lack of confidence, you know, in what we were going to do. And to me, here's what I want to say. All right. So what was the conflicting signal here? Volatility expansion has stopped on the daily time frame, is now contracting. And so as we began to contract, yes, typically price action goes sideways. We did say that if we got a tick above that high, very likely a move up to the 9 exponential. And now we're getting a strong rejection. So the higher term timeframes are going to rule the market. They're going to take over. And we've been talking about this for some time. It is the two-day 4 drives of hidden bearish divergence. Again, lower highs in price and higher highs in RSI. The 4th drive philosophy would say this. After confirming the 4th high, we would use the fib tool. Now what I want to do is give 2 targets. One would be based off of the candles, which that pretty much hit to the T, coming in at 19,578. But the other would be based off of wicks. So what does the 4 drive philosophy say? That, hey, after 4 drives of hidden bearish divergence, we're going to get a move all the way down to the 2618 fib, which that is right in line with the target of this ascending channel. So do we have a little more downside to come? That would put Bitcoin at about 18,100, actually right in line with this bottom of this wick. Wicks do like to get filled. Now, 2-day momentum will be closing today and will cross back up with any kind of a closure above 20,916. At the moment, we're pretty far away from that. And this type of candle, if we closed like that with volume, could be a particular a reversal candle. So lots at stake here on the 2-day time frame. Here's why I would be leaning towards a little bit more expansion to the downside, and that is the CMEs, which, you know, the big question is does spot price lead the market, or does CMEs, the futures market, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, where all the professional traders hang out? And I think, you know, there's some debate to that. But using the same philosophy here, if we did a fib retracement using the wicks, we still have some room to go and some room for ultimately a target down there at about 17,975. And here's what I would say. And this one has a lot more room before Stokes cross up, right? So today these will be closing in about 4 hours and 59 minutes. And this number will come down significantly on the next closure. However, as long as momentum remains to the downside and volatility is continuing to expand on the 2-day time frame, I would expect that 45% move to play out somewhere between 40 and 45%. And just to give you an idea what that looks like from expansion, where do we define expansion? When the BBWP gets above the 20 percentile, which was on this drive right here. So if we took a 40% retracement from this high down 40%, would be right in line pretty much with the 4236. And to give you guys an idea, these targets get hit on extreme moves, on extreme volatility. And you use the wicks to do your fib retracements when there is extreme volatility in the market. And following up from yesterday, what do we say about the gap? The gap fill. Yes, we were talking about this on the 4-hour time frame. And we did say yesterday, hey, look, if Bitcoin comes up and fills the gap and gets rejected, very likely we're going to hit some of the downside targets. And again, the first target off of this 2-day time frame on the CMEs is actually way down there. So I'm going to mark these off. And remember, close enough is close enough, right? So close enough is close enough. TA is not an exact science. It's more of an art form. So, you know, how many of these 20, 30% moves do you need to make a career or to make a living for a year? I would say not too many. So best not to get greedy. And again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but what else is going to corroborate this story and make it all come to fruition? What else did I see here? So we got, so I'm just lining these up, and I guess that would be our second target. If this is going to be a really volatile move. The other thing on the board here is now the 5-day momentum is crossed to the downside in a low region, and volatility is declining, so it's still contracting. If volatility begins to expand and regains the exponential, especially, that would be a good indicator that, hey, this move is going to have some major legs. And if we just go back and back test a couple of things here, when Stokes have crossed to the downside, we've got some massive moves to the downside. Just the last couple of crosses I'll show you on CMEs. We got this one right here. The full move off of that was 56%. We got this one right there. You want to call it on this candle, that's fine. 49%. This one right here would have crossed down right at the tippy top. That was a 50% retracement. So the only difference here is, well, volatility is low. It's at a low level. I mean, it's lower now, or right at the same level that it was during the last major drop. It's lower than this level. So when does expansion occur? And what did we also say yesterday about the CMEs on the 4-hour time frame? If we did reject at the gap fill, that is a sign that this was a gap that is going to be supported by price action. And now this is going to be mediated with 4-hour closure below 20,114, excuse me, it's already crossed down on the 4-hour right there. So momentum crossed down to the upside. All I want to do is see expansion. So for this move to really start to get going. And what kind of tipped me off in the early morning hours was this bearish engulfing candle on the NASDAQ. And you can see the same gap was there on NASDAQ. We filled the gap, actually shot through it, but now that we're closing back down below it, it shows kind of a fake out and confirmation that this thing wants to come down more. And if we do, and volatility is still declining here, if we do start to see volatility increase, again, from this expansive level right here, we saw this move. So volatility can, flip back to the downside. We could also get a bounce here and cross back up above 20,414. Okay, and so I'm just trying to see if I see anything else here on the NASDAQ in regards to bullish or bearish divergence. Coming back from this pivot right here, so we could see this come down. That would be, call it 1, 2. I'd say 1, 2, 3. So if we don't begin to take out this low with price action, we will have a third drive of bearish divergence, which would give us a shot back to the top side of the range, maybe even higher. But this is a bearish candle, and we have some volume on this candle. Not that much volume, but some volume. Momentum crossing back to the downside. And on the 2-hour, could potentially, again, if we do confirm this as a local low, where do the bull traps come in? Anywhere at the 0.5 of the 618, and typically you do see price action retest a breakdown level. I'd say the target on this guy here, if we use our fib retracement using candle bodies, we already hit the 1618. So do we get a retest of the 100 percentile? Maybe even this would be the 382 on a bullish retracement, somewhere in this range at 12,500. But as long as, we're below 12,580, momentum will remain to the downside on the NASDAQ. And it does look like maybe a bounce first. What else do I want to point out here was the US dollar. And we did say yesterday that this was the basically harbinger of death and despair. And we do have this Wyckoff accumulation box here. And to break it to the downside or the upside is going to have a pretty massive implication. Volatility is beginning to decline. Momentum is crossed to the downside. We don't really have any bullish or bearish divergence, except for this that played out. But we do have it on the 4-hour time frame, and this is why I am still a little bit more on the bullishly biased side. And just to corroborate the story a little bit more, yes, we did get a clean break back above the 382. If we use wicks here, still the same case, call it the 236. If we use a bullish retracement, we did come right up to the 786, which could mean another move back down to the 382. However, momentum is now crossed to the downside below 109.02. So we do need to see a little bit of a bounce in the dollar to continue to rise here. And I guess I would mediate this next target with a closure back above 109. This pivot right here. that should have been good enough to do it on this last closure. As we are back above the 618. However, that is with the candle wick, not the body. Yeah, still based off of this bullish retracement, we got back above the 618. However, if we do close back below the 382, I would be looking for dollar to come back down and perhaps make another higher low. But this is going to be a hidden bullish divergence coming back from this point right here. If you confirm that as a local low, even have it all the way back here. From this pivot right here, I mean, really, you could call it from this pivot. The question is that a local low? Was that a clear stop and reverse point? Could you call that a low? I think you could. And that would be coming back right from this point. So again, price is making extremely higher lows. RSI is making lower lows, and that would be the fourth drive, 1, 2, 3, 4, which using our 4-drive philosophy, give us that target back up at about 110. I'd mediate that with a closure back above 109. And really, this is going to be the name of the game here right now, and will pretty much determine whether stocks go higher or Bitcoin goes higher. If we get a reversal here, it'll look good for a little bit more of a bounce on Bitcoin and Ethereum and stocks. However, if this thing picks itself back up and we start to, head higher, 1 hour momentum will cross down below 108.59. And we got 37 minutes left on that one. What does the 30 minutes say? We're about to cross down. 15 minutes probably already crossed down. And so this could take some time here. But I do think the higher term time frames will take over at some point. And remember, it is Tuesday, turnaround Tuesday, so what happens? I think we're turning around to the downside, if you ask me, because the same thing happened on NASDAQ that happened on Bitcoin. Is we had this gap down. We filled the gap, got rejected. Now we're closing well below it on the 4-hour time frame. And on the 1 hour, could we put in a little bit of a bounce? It looks like we could. And again, where do bounces come in? Anywhere up around the 9 at 12:45 or even 12:05. But that momentum will remain to the downside as long as we're closing. Yeah, 12,500 is going to be a nice pivot on the market for the NASDAQ. And dollar strength. Okay, what else do we have here? Going back to Bitcoin. I did want to follow up on the 5-day chart, which we got 3 days left on this one. The weekly chart, just getting a bit of a backfill. And on the weekly chart, again, volatility is getting low and will cross down below anywhere below. We'll cross back up above 20,877. So there's a lot left that can happen before now and the end of the month here, which is tomorrow. And here's another thing that I wanted to bring up on the monthly chart. Not for Ethereum, as I do believe Bitcoin will lead this market to the downside. Let's just take off all the drawing tools here. And if we have a bearish engulfing candle and we close anywhere tomorrow below that 18,800 pivot, that is not going to look good for Bitcoin at all. And I do think we could see some continuation. Or we could just get another backfill. So Really tough to call right there. The month is not closed yet. We got another 1 day and 8 hours. Let's see. What about CMEs? Yeah, 1 day and 5 hour. A bearish engulfing candle would look nice for continuation to the downside. But let's see if we can line it up with some fibs, not on CMEs. Let's use the BLX index because it's got the most price history going back, going way back. So do we have the 4 drives of bearish divergence coming back all the way from this pivot right here? That would look pretty nasty. That would look, yeah. Can you go back this far? I don't know, but let's just see what it says. Is that slightly, is that a higher high or is this? And that is a slightly higher high. So that one would not count. However, we would have one here. One. That would not count as it is not a clear pivot on the market. That would be 1, 2. Oh, here would be 3, 4. 3, and there's your 4th one. So, wow, this I hope this doesn't hold true. But if we use our fib retracement tool, yikes. So we did hit the 1618 with 2 drives of bearish divergence as we broke the range. Now we're coming back into these highs here. And there's your $8,800, $9,000 target that people have been talking about. And this is on the BLX. So let's take a look on something like Coinbase. And if you use Wix, obviously it's going to be a bigger move. But look at that, how we just came up to the 17.5, hit that to a T. And yeah, putting that next target down at about 8,800. I wonder why it just doesn't look right. It just, okay, log scale is killing the vibe. How does that get us all the way? Yeah, that does get us there. Okay, 9,200. And last thing I want to check in on is the accumulation distribution indicator. And on the monthly time frame, this is something that can definitely change the vibes in the market. And it would be this. When this thing does retain a positive slope, we are getting down to our kind of macro bottoming regions. We maybe have one more month. Remember, the last 8 out of 11 months coming into September have been down months. So if that's worth anything to you. But once this guy retains a positive slope, very good chance that we are beginning to see a macro bottom being put in. And I think that's going to wrap up my thoughts on Bitcoin. And I will just close it up with, again, the 2-day time frame. I'm going to put on my regular chart here. So as long as we do not close back above 20,916, I am looking for this first target to get hit somewhere between 18.1 and the bottom of this wick. Okay, that is the first target. The second target, yeah, that is the, excuse me, that was the first target. Second target right here. And Yep, as long as volatility is increasing and we are closing above 20,917, sorry, below 20,917, I would imagine that target does get hit. Now, if you see the candle close like this, like a gravestone candle, and then we take out this wick, probably going to play out a bit of a greater bounce. And this is what had me thrown off yesterday, is declining volatility on the daily time frame. What about the 3-day? What's the 3-day say? It's going to close another 1 day in 8 hours. And it is just beginning to increase as well. And 3-day volatility can really get some big moves. So if we see that get above the 50 percentile, good indicator that, I mean, some more of these volatile targets can get hit. I'd be looking for stops along the way. And the other thing I wanted to check in with you guys, open interest is currently coming in here at 8.6 billion. So open interest is not very high. We typically see a big correction when open interest gets higher. So that might be something to note. And the fear and greed index. Why do I not think the low is in yet? Well, simply the fear and greed index. People are not extremely fearful yet. They're fearful. We want to see extremely fearful capitulation. People, absolutely in extreme fear. And that's below a 24. And we want to see it stay down there for some time before any kind of a macro low is put in. Okay, I'm going to show you this last thing. If you guys waited this long to watch the video, you're going to appreciate this. And it is literally a Tetris breakdown of Bitcoin. I don't think that there's any coincidence that the market is breaking down the way it is. And here's just another way to prove it. So I'm going to take off some of these drawing tools here. And I'm just going to show you this so that you know when perhaps could be the macro low for Bitcoin. This is the weekly time frame. And if you notice, we're going to get 11 bars down, 9 bars up, 11 bars down, 9 bars up. So I'll just count it with you guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So on the 11th bar, that is the low. So I'm just going to mark that off. Actually, I'm going to do a vertical bar. Okay, that's the 11th bar down. Now we're going to go 9 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 bars up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to mark this guy off as well. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The next high. Okay, so you've got these highs exactly 20 bars apart, 20 weeks apart. And so let's just do a little mental math here, right? When should the next low be in? 11 bars. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. October 31st. And then let's do 9 more bars and we'll put in the next high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let me just count that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So where does this all line up? Or does it even line up? Looks like it lines up to me. Looks like a perfect darn trend, if you ask me. It looks like a perfect trend. Do we actually touch on this bar right here? You know the saying, close enough is close enough. So I would expect if this is going to hold true, this trend line does not break. The next low comes in somewhere around here. And how can we get a guesstimate for the next low? Okay, from the high to the low, this one is down. I wish I could get the magnet to stick. That's down 51%. This one is down 61%. So let's take a median between those two. If we go down 55% would be right here at 11,000. 60% would be at 10,000. And the COVID lows, the 100% retrace, what Charles Dow is famous for, would be Bitcoin down at 5,400. I mean, the full retrace, if it gets that much blood in the street, right? But I think we probably get a strong bounce off of 10,000 personally. So if we bounce it off 10,000, no, I think so that's 60% down to 10,000. That's a 60% loser right there. And I do think capitulation will begin to happen, right? What is capitulation? We had a big talk about this in a meeting yesterday. It's when complete and utter fear sets in. Everybody sells. Everybody's running for the hills with their eyes closed. I imagine those guys from the WEF, the World Economic Forum, they come out with their lizard suits on and they start doing all kinds of dances and freaking everybody out. Probably another round of COVID shots or something like that. And then capitulation happens. So be waiting for the lizard suits. That's the last and final sign. And they'll be telling you to download yourself to the metaverse so you can live forever, right? And so I'm just trying to give an idea on when this. Okay, October 31st should be the next low on Bitcoin. And then the next high. If that doesn't make sense. If we hit it here. Okay, so that's why a further or deeper correction makes sense. Because how is this thing going to just mosey on over here and grind out this line? I don't think that's what happens. I think more likely we maybe get a big down bounce up to this trend line here, and then maybe one more down. Anyways, it's just food for thought, guys, not financial advice. Nobody has a crystal ball here. We're just using statistics. And I will say that, I would expect sometime in the end of October for the next low to be put in, and we will mediate that with some of our other indicators like and this is another kind of, we did get the blue buy signal on the daily time frame, and that has been a pretty good indicator. However, with the rejection so far, not exactly a fail-safe, but we'll be using that blue buy signal, and when Bitcoin makes a higher low on the daily time frame in combination with a monthly reversal here on the accumulation distribution indicator. So we want to see the monthly get a positive slope and come down a bit more before we can determine if a macro low has been in. Want to see a higher low on the weekly time frame as well. So right now we are in a downtrend. What is a downtrend? When price is making lower highs and lower lows, right? Lower highs and lower lows. And the old saying is, let the trend be your friend till the end of the trend. And then when we get a trend reversal, which would be a higher low, which perhaps, we could even put a higher low in right now. If this week closes right here, and then so that would be technically a higher low. And then we make a higher high somewhere above 24,300, call it 25,000. That's the line in the sand. As long as that area is not taken out on a weekly time frame, I would expect the lower targets to get hit. And look at the bottom side, Trollinger Band coming in right there at 13,601. So price action does like to bounce off the Trollinger Bands. And if we close below it, specifically 12,311, that would initiate a deeper target, somewhere around $3,000. $3,000, and yeah, that would be brutal. All right, so I'm going to leave it off with that. This video is long enough today. Hope you guys played it on fast forward. Hope you drop a like and a comment below if you want me to review any other coins. Oh, now I got to do the news. All right, the last thing on the board here. Crypto news today. Avalanche attorney accused of using lawsuits to kneecap the rivals. Yes, apparently they got this guy, Kyle Roche, drunk, and he started bragging of his close ties to the founder of the Avalanche blockchain and seemed to suggest he filed frivolous lawsuits in a bid to weaken its competitors. So Avalanche's native token AVAX, probably getting killed today, has fared worse than the major cryptocurrencies over the weekend, dropping more than 15% since Friday, according to data from the Defiant terminal. So in a statement, Searer, whoever that is, called a report accompanying the video's Skrilius hit piece and said Roche had misrepresented his work for Ava Labs, the company behind Avalanche, in an attempt to impress a potential business partner. Oh, that doesn't look nice. So they played videos of this guy. Roche brags of having been given 1% of AVAX, Avalanche's native token, in exchange for legal services, and of living with Ava Labs COO Kevin Cicchini, sorry I messed that up, in Miami. Sire has called the allegation that Roche owns 1% of AVAX a blatant lie. So bad news, kind of a stain on the old crypto eyelashes here. And yes, I am getting that breakdown on Ethereum that I was looking for. And another kind of tip here, guys, is Bitcoin kind of leads the market, Ethereum follows. So if you don't catch the whole move Well, you can always look to other assets that may bleed it out a little bit stronger. I'm going to put back on that log scale, and something may hold true with Ethereum as well. And yeah, Ethereum taking it on the chin. But yeah, if you look at this on the 4-hour time frame, again, the NASDAQ leads the market. Well, the 4-hour just closed significantly lower than that gap fill. Oh yeah, so it's got some more room to go. So you can see Bitcoin already closed below the gap fill. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum does the same thing. See, Bitcoin, here was the gap filled and now closing below, may initiate some more downside targets. And I would say, yes, any kind of a closure with CMEs, even got it on the 2-hour time frame. Yep, below 19,600. This pivot right here, 19,600. A closure below there, and that is below the 382 fib, which is going to be, excuse me, it's not there. Let me do a bullish retracement. Okay. So we've gone over this. There we go. That's what I wanted. Bull traps happen at the 0.5 or the 618. And if you come up and hit there and you close back below the 236, very likely that was just a bull trap. How do you trap bulls? Well, the people get real bullish and happy and excited thinking we're going back to the moon. But no, it was just a gap fill. And now we're coming back down. Down to doggy town. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hope you have a blessed and highly favored day. Hope this was helpful. If it was, please do hit that like button. And here's another one right here that's probably got a little bit more downside to go. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but this one, definitely with this negative news coming out, should play out some more downside. All right, have a blessed day. Take care.